but we've had managed methods for a long time. I can't even remember how long. But we have, I just pulled it up on my second monitor to check. We have 21 policies enabled on the Google side of our environment and 5 on the Microsoft side. Um, Policies are around phishing emails. Most of the ones on our Google environment are around data loss. So PII, credit card information, social security information, um, image risks, things like that, and then confidential documents. So we have policies in place and managed methods for all of those, and that is on both staff and students. So we have found probably 5 documents in the last few years where staff inadvertently were trying to share documents that should not have been shared outside the organization. And managed methods is the tool that alerted us to it.
Exactly, kind of what Bob was saying with managed methods. First off, discovered risk, that is any sensitive information flowing throughout your environment, and that is whatever you want to look for. So what I mean by that, by default, we have 2 for data loss prevention, PII, PCI. We have 4 for student safety. That will be self-harm machine learning, toxicity risk machine learning, image risk machine learning, and self-harm strict. Now, I say whatever you want to be on the lookout for because what I always tell people, managed methods is all about visibility and control, or I guess I can use the words we actually use, audit and control, because whatever you want to look for, John, I want to be on the lookout for employee IDs, okay? And even something as silly, not silly because kids are actually doing it, as kids eating Tide Pods. Whatever you want to be on the lookout for, you can go ahead and build that risk scan. And we are monitoring those things as they flow through the Gmail. So sent or received, drive files, created, modified, shared in an inappropriate way, classroom announcements, and also shared drive files, right? So with all of this information here, this is the risk scans letting you know, hey, we are recognizing things like PCI for credit cards or PII for social security numbers. We're letting you know something like, hey, this is a shared drive file that's saying it's a list of students' social, like, well, what's going on here? Yes, you will literally find things like this. And what I always tell people is look at that created on date. Because as I said earlier, as long as the file exists inside of your environment, the time frame does not matter. So you will sometimes see, why did this teacher decide to build a file, a drive file in 2020 and continuously update it in 2025, right? So quarantine those things. That will give you the ability to break all shares, change ownership, investigate. If nothing is wrong, restore it back. Delete, it is absolutely gone out of your environment. John, I don't want anything to do with this. Get it out of there. Share via email. We'll send a notification to another one of your colleagues. Hey, Bob, take a look at this. This is crazy. Remind later. We all get busy. Set a reminder. Come back to it. And then label. This is just so you can, 1, break up all that white space. And then 2, you can actually search via labels. So, John, I don't know, but I know it was probably critical. Okay, label, look for a critical. There you go. All right. Now these risk scans are showing you, and something that you do have the ability to do is filter and say, okay, well, is it leaving my environment? Is it incoming or just staying within? And last but not least, the cherry on top to that is being able to build a policy that will be on the lookout for that. So you can say, all right, scroll down. Let's use the social security and credit cards, right? So this is leaving your organization. You can say, John, nope, delete those files if they try to do it. Quarantine those files, revoke the share, warn your user. Share drive, delete the files, warn your user. And for email, this is the only caveat here. We cannot stop email from leaving your environment, but something that you all will get a great kick out of, I call it the CYA policy, because delete the email and this will delete it from the sent box. John, why would we do that? Because how often do you or anybody that you know actually delete your sent mail, right? And now that's not a shot at anybody out there, but that's just saying there are literally teachers who will take a picture of 5 credit cards front and back and send it in an email out of your environment. John, why did they do that? I don't know, but The CYA policy is saying, you know what? I can't stop it from leaving, but I'm going to delete that thing because I do not want your credit cards or your socials sitting in your inbox or your sent mailbox, right? So always help people out with that. Cover yourself, just delete it. There's no need for you to be hanging on to their personal information, right? And just like with all policies, we will notify you every 4 hours or immediately if you go ahead and select notify admin. All right. Now, with that being said, before I go back to the main page, I'm going to talk about apps because how do we control those third-party apps? Well, first, we kick them out. Once we kick those apps out, we then build app policies that will keep them out. So, John, VPN explicit shouldn't be anywhere in my environment. Cool. Turn that on, revoke access. So every single time any of your end users try to sign into an app that you set to revoke access, we will continuously kick them out, right? I've literally seen a student try to sign in to TikTok 18 times. You would think somewhere between 1 and 15, they would have been like, oh, maybe I should stop, right? So this is controlling what has OAuth access because inside of managed methods, it does not matter if it is an extension, single sign-on, or an application. If you grant OAuth access into our environment, we are going to see it, right? So the apps tab here, again, anything that has OAuth access. So John, I signed in 3 years ago and forgot about it. It still has an OAuth token. It still has access to your environment. Revoke that token, break it, be done with it. And then the
And
app
if you forgot
policies,
about it, doesn't
keep
mean
them
that.
out.
Thank you.
Yep,
Yep.
yep, yep. All right.